Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for our dearly departed League One catch-up. I think we're developing a regular slot here on a Thursday with this show, and it's a big welcome back. You've been infiltrating my area of the country this past week, Knappers, haven't you? You've been down my way. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, to be fair. Watching Fleetwood go forward is, quite good on the eye. But watching us defend, there's no wonder why we're getting so many grey hair and heart problems at 19 years of age sometimes. So, to watch, 10 goals in 2 games, it's, quite good, 800 miles travel. But,
800.
A 3-game week is starting to kill me right now. So, I know some people will go, well, it's not really 3 games in a week. It's 3. It is a 3-game week.
Oh, you do, yeah. You try and cover it is all I'll say, and cover it is what we're going to try and do here. This is Dearly Departed League One, where we look at the teams that I covered in the Championship that we still got subscribers who want to tune in on. That Knappers now covers over on his channel, so little bit of a kind of crossover and a good fun show. As ever, let me know you can see me, hear me loudly, clearly. Get involved in the comments. We know it's the lunchtime shift, but if you've got any questions or comments, get them in now. And a big hello if you're watching after the fact or on the podcast feed. We are talking Wycombe Wanderers, Sheffield Wednesday, Rotherham, Wigan, Charlton, and we always indulge ourselves a little bit and talk about Fleetwood and Ipswich. Why wouldn't we? Hey, why wouldn't we? It's only natural, isn't it? Before we go any further, get into the action. And by the way, we've got 2 little sets of games to talk about. Being it is a 3-game week. Let's just say a big thank you to Bits, who is our fan sponsor for this show. Follower of Ipswich for 40 years over land and sea and Norwich. Thank you very much, Bits. And if you are watching in real time, and you do want a super chat, as ever, we'll split them in half with Knappers here for his good work and the time he gives up. Afternoon, no Sarge. Afternoon, boys. It's a good boys, that, isn't it? Come on, Wycombe. MK can't defend as badly as they did Tuesday. No, we're going to hear Knappers' first-hand take on that later in the show. Welcome along, Sam. How come you don't include teams like Ipswich and Sunderland? Is it the seasons they were? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Otherwise, we'd have way too many. But we had a chat, didn't we, Knappers? And we went for these 5. So yes, Redman, hello, Tony, Knappers. No uni today, Knappers. Your presence is being questioned here in the chat by Mr. Testosterone. Let's have a look. And I think we might still be in the same order with our teams, but there is movement in the table. So we're going to talk about Wigan first, who have dropped from the top of the table. I mean, first world problems for Wigan. Sunderland going great guns ahead of them. So a 2-0 win for Wigan against Cheltenham was fairly routine, but they lost. Knappers, this is a rarity this season, and we'll save our Sheffield Wednesday conversation for a second. We'll focus on Wigan, but I don't know. You tell me. I'll call it a surprise defeat, and you can disagree with me if you want. But Wigan going under their 2-1 to Wednesday, an incredible own goal by Max Power in that one. Unfortunately, Callum Patterson, Charlie White, the other goal scorers. Wigan dropped in second place, still at 19 points from 9 games. But what's your take on a routine win against Cheltenham, followed by, God forbid, a defeat for Wigan?
Poor Cheltenham, by the way, to go from Wigan away to Sunderland away in Saturday, Tuesday is quite cruel, really. They have conceded 7 goals, but again, a good win. Wycombe on the score sheet again. So it's a great win, great to get a clean sheet at home. And, they set the high standards that they have in the last few weeks to go, 8 unbeaten, was 7 or 8 unbeaten, go and win loads of games of football, go and score loads of goals, go and keep clean sheets. And to lose to Sheffield Wednesday and it'd be a disappointing result just shows you how well they've done this year. So I think Wigan need to maybe just have a look at themselves, maybe just, regroup. They're not going to win every game, they're not going to draw every game. It's all about how they react. every side in that top 6 this year have had a bad result at some stage. You saw Sunderland lost to Burton, they drew to Fleetwood when they were 2-0 up, and Wycombe have lost a couple of games away, and I wouldn't worry if I was a Wigan fan. But a great bounce back for Sheffield Wednesday. It just shows you the character and the determination they got in that squad, where the chips are down. To go forward without a win, they play some pretty standard sides in there. But to go to Wigan and get a result, I'd also thought Max Powell was Sheffield Wednesday's best player, if I'm honest with
you. Tremendous. There's you'll know better than me. It also feels like there's quite a lot of big games up in Yorkshire and up in the northwest this season, and there's going to be quite a lot of away ends full, and maybe that was a bit of a factor, wasn't it? All those Wednesday fans going over. I saw you tweeted there was thousands of them in the away end at Wigan, wasn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I like the way you say it. The Northwest clubs will be taking packfuls of away ends. I think my team can't be included in that one.
But the away end will be full at your stage.
Oh,
fair dues. God, I remember it was like 65 at Ipswich, but you did win, didn't you? That was a Tuesday night as well. So, yeah, Wigan still up there, game in hand. Let's just bring the table up one more time. Wigan sitting on 19. Sunderland really are flying, but we won't focus too much on them. Mark, we'll get into your Sheffield Wednesday comment when we do Wednesday in a couple of teams' time. First off, let's talk about Rotherham, who've tucked in into the 5th place spot there. 4 points over these last 2 for them. Bit of a disappointing one, I would suggest. Rotherham pegged back in the last minute, a red card and a late penalty there. Wes Harding, and a 1-1 draw against Crewe Alex. So it could have been a 6-pointer, but a nice, comfortable home win against AFC Wimbledon, who haven't been the easiest to play against. 2 more goals for Michael Smith as well. Ifs, buts and maybes, Knappers, they'd also be on 19 points were it not for that late goal for Crewe. And as ever, Michael Smith always gets mentioned. 2 more for him, and invaluable as ever. What are your thoughts on a quick home double for Rotherham?
I think, again, you had a look at their week. They've got Cheltenham on Saturday, and I said last week to you, and when it all depends, they can afford to draw one of them if they win the other 2. So if they beat Cheltenham, that point against Crewe in the end, it's quite a decent result. You forget because it was a penalty in the last minute. They would have taken 7 points from 9 before the 3 games, absolutely. So to come back, 17 points from the first 10 games. They've won 5 games already this year. They've kept 5 clean sheets, which is the most in the division, which is a good factor. If they carry on these points per game, they'll be on about 78 points, and they'll be in the playoffs with that amount, pretty sure. So I think they're doing just fine. I think the 4 unbeaten now since that Fleetwood defeat. So they've, again, shown that little bit of a bounce-back ability where kind of lost 2 in 3 to Wednesday and Fleetwood back-to-back home games. So, good result for Rotherham. Paul Warne knows what he's doing. Great win. And again, close the gap on Plymouth and close the gap on MK Dons and Wigan, who all, dropped points, so they all drew. So all managed to get that point gap from 4 to 2. So great result, clean sheet. And also Will Grigg is up and running as well, which is a huge factor for him. I think he just needed a goal. Did well at MK Dons last year. Hopefully he can do the same at Rotherham.
We'll just touch on Sam's question there, Knappers. Wigan and Sunderland pulling away. Certainly Sunderland, we've been here before. They do look pretty well on fire at the moment, though, don't they?
Yeah, but we've seen with Streaky Lee, put it that way.
Yeah, fair point, yeah.
And we've got I think they are the best side in the division. I don't think they've got the best squad in the division, if I'm honest with you. But I think they've got a winning mentality, a good culture, a good bunch of players that want to get better, that want to learn. And that's better than talent for me, though, that determination and grit. And they have got very good players in the side. I'm not denying that. And they have probably got 3 or 4 better players in League One. But as a squad, we can... MK Dons and Ipswich have probably got bigger and better squads. But they've got a good culture down at Sunderland, which, happens to most. And Wigan, who knows? It's all about how they react. They got a tough game against Gillingham, who got the first clean sheet on Tuesday. So, tough game. I think if they go there and get a win, it's all forgotten about. If they go there and lose, it's a bit like, squeaky bum time.
I think Mark agrees with you there. Rotherham inconsistent like every team in this league. Knappers always mentions this, and he's right. The ability to, you might go in one of these 3-game weeks, 1 point, and it is bouncing back. And we have to remember this is the third tier, and players and teams are flawed. The best players are not in the third tier, are they? Sometimes we forget. I always tell people when we're covering the Championship that I think they expect Premier League players' standard and consistency from players who literally aren't in the Premier League. Jake, we're going to talk about Charlton in just a second. I'm sure Knappers will have a view on that. He'll also have a view on Wycombe Wanderers, who are in 6th spot behind Rotherham. I say behind, they're tied up on 17 points with a game in hand. It was defeat at MK, who are riding high at the top of the table. And frankly, looking at the underlying numbers, could have been a heavier defeat than 1-0 there. Troy Parrott. I suppose we need to factor in the red card. I'd forgotten about that. But Wycombe bouncing back, and then it's 6 points across the 3 games. They go across to Shrewsbury. Jacobson still doing it at Tafazoli with the girls. Shrewsbury obviously closer to the bottom than they are to the top. But Wycombe ticking along nicely in that sort of slipstream in there. Game in hand, and not quite where they were, where they've raced away 2 seasons ago to that incredible start. But what is your take on the last 2 for Wycombe?
It's a very, it's very good, bounce back ability. I say this all the time. And you see that, we say that about Wycombe Wanderers, who are currently 6th in the playoff, who are averaging just, 1.9 points a game in the 6th space. Won 5 out of the first 9, only lost 2. And it's a disappointing start for Wycombe. That just shows you the standards that Gareth Ainsworth, those players, the fans have set in those last 2 years, how well they've done. And that's every credit to Gareth Ainsworth and his, his staff and his team. But again, I think this Wycombe side will be a bit more consistent than they were a few years ago, which you'd rather be a bit more solid all over the season and start strong and fade away. You've seen that a bit with Wimbledon over the last kind of 4 to 5 games. But, they're a strong side, great outfit. Jacobson and Tazafoli had a goal disallowed the other day, kind of a justice goal. And Jacobson, second best left foot in League One behind Danny Andrew.
With Scott Fraser.
Yeah, there's loads of them. But again, he's 2 points behind Wigan, only 5 behind Sunderland. The well are clear the bottom 4, which, they used to aim just above. So, great squad, great bounce back ability, and all goes into a tough game against Morecambe on Saturday, who are a good side. They just come off a 7-point, 3-game week, really. So, I'm interested to see how Wycombe do. Can they keep up the perfect home record? Because they've won 3 out of the first 3. Sunderland have done that, but they've done 6 out of 6.
Remind me to ask you about Cole Stockton when we preview that game, because what a player he looks. Jesus. Right, let's move on to Sheffield Wednesday, who have kind of picked back up again. And I suppose if you're going to go away and win at the league leaders, everything looks pretty good, doesn't it? For Wednesday, it was a late bit of a Shearhousey goal by Ipswich to deny Wednesday the points at the weekend. And I'm sure, given the Tuesday night results, both teams will be happy with that draw. Although Wednesday, obviously, 1 minute away from winning, or 90th minute, however you want to put it. But then we've already looked at it. Big win for Wednesday up at Wigan. Little trough in their results, wasn't there, Knappers? But back at it, still got that very tight defensive record, game in hand there. Have they ridden the short-term storm and huge morale-building win against Wigan?
Yeah, but it all depends on the next 3 games. Can they, go on a good run? I said to you last week about Ipswich. Oh, if you can draw against Wednesday, you lose against Doncaster or draw against Doncaster, there's no momentum game. But if you win, it could defy your whole season. You can kick on, and boy, did you win. Wednesday, again, just need to keep winning now. Get a clean sheet. Just if you can get a win and a draw in the next 2 games, yeah, they have kicked on. It's a good result for momentum. But there's no point winning it and then going to lose your next game. So, great win away from home. Good crowd there from Wednesday. Outstanding crowd. I don't care how far it is to take nearly 4,000 fans on a Tuesday night to somewhere an hour and a half away. It's unbelievable.
In League One.
In League One. So people tend to forget that. And, I don't get me started on, they're a massive club. But, again, great win. I think that's 4 wins from 9 fun. They've only lost 2 games if you want to look on the positive side. So, I think this Wednesday side are a strong outfit. And hopefully for them, they've gone on their 5-game blip, as I said. I think a couple of teams have already had that. And hopefully that's that for them now.
Absolutely. Right. Let's get your teeth into Charlton, because we've been expecting it to sort of bounce back for the foreseeable, but it was a draw at home to Pompey on the weekend game. I think they were behind twice as well. Yeah, 87th minute equaliser in that one, but that was then followed up by, and look, they're not the first team to get battered at home off Bolton this season, but big home defeat for Charlton, and the table is very, very gnarly looking for Nigel Adkins there. 1 win in 10, only 6 points. So, 0.6 points per game is heads towards relegation fairly quickly, doesn't it? When is this pickup coming then, Knappers, and how worried are you now about Charlton with a 10-game sample size to judge them as having been not very good?
Well, the League One knowledge isn't that great. I can't remember the last team they battered away from home, Bolton.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
No, I think Bolton are a very good side, and they're horrible to play against. They're a weird side, by the way. I'd call them a crazy bunch, really, because last 6 games, in 4 of them they haven't scored, and the other 2 games they've scored a 5 and a 4 away from home, which at Charlton and Ipswich, who were 2 big clubs expecting to get into the top 6 this year. They go 1-0 up against Bolton. Obviously, Davison gets the goal, and it was 2 subs actually that came on the other day against Portsmouth and changed the game and scored and got them back in it. And I was listening to a Charlton, and he basically said that they've kept Atkins in a job for another week. And it's not a bad point, but you need to go and get something from Bolton then. And they start brightly against Bolton, get a goal. Then as soon as they concede, it goes a bit flat in the stadium, and that's it. The swinging mentality, Bolton go run by it. Charlton 2 years ago in the playoffs in the Championship. And since then, they've got a weak mentality. They're a bit spineless. They're easy to play against. They're soft. They're flaky. And they're just an absolute embarrassment. They're a bunch of jokers on the pitch that look like they've never played together. And Atkins he's a positive guy. You see his positive mentality on Twitter all the time. But if you're a fan of that and you're seeing that, you're going to get annoyed quickly if you're not losing. If you're winning, he's the best man since sliced bread. But how are the players going to listen to him? Because if he's like that, they want something maybe a little bit firmer. And I don't think Atkins is that. I think he's a little bit outdated, if I'm honest with you. I'm a big fan of giving managers time, but how long can they go out like this? I know Charlton fans says we'll be okay. With Charlton, we won't go down. Well, that's what Sheffield Wednesday have said. That's what Wigan have said in the past. That's what Leeds have said in the past. Loads of big clubs have said, "Oh, we're too big to go down the division." Well, they have. Charlton need to look at themselves because the teams above them in Fleetwood, Gillingham, Ipswich are all improving. And even the teams in the bottom 4, Shrewsbury and Crewe are getting a little bit better. They're lucky that the other team, Doncaster, they have an embarrassing manager, and they have an embarrassing squad. So they're being propped up a little bit. But they have Fleetwood on Saturday. And we've got a good record of getting managers sacked over the last 2 or 3 years. It's a weird thing. And it's like, he's losing to Fleetwood that really bad that you have to sack a manager.
Jamie's saying his Charlton friend don't care and appalling, shameful. Red man, heads go down when we let one in. Atkins has to go. There you go. Just on the flip side, No Sarge is asking about Bolton. What is your ceiling for Bolton, Knappers? They're in 7th. They're very good going forward, and only MK have scored more than them. How high can Bolton finish, having decimated Ipswich and Charlton away from home and stuck 9 past them?
I don't see why they can't challenge for the top 2. I really don't.
Wow. I thought you were going to say
really
playoffs then.
I don't think they will get to the top 2, but I don't see why not they can't challenge. And I don't see why they won't challenge for the playoff. Do I think it's probably 1 year too early for Bolton. If I'm honest, I think what they're doing right now is perfect. I said at the start of the year, if they can finish anywhere between 6th and 12th, it'd be an unbelievable season for them, because they've got that winning mentality. They've got into a culture. They've played well. They've scored goals. The players are getting better, and they can add to that and then go on next year under a young manager. So Everton's done well everywhere he's gone. 2 promotions and a mid-table finish with Barrow so far. They're great going forward. They're only a couple of points off the playoffs. Just probably need to improve a little bit when they're not scoring goals. But when they are on song, they're very good to watching. I love watching Bolton play. I love that front four. Your Athalons, your Doyle, your Sarceviches, your Kachungas. It's an unbelievable squad. Then you got your Lees in behind. Sheffield Wednesday fans adore him. And you got your Gethin Joneses, your Santoses. I don't see why they can't, because they've got a great young manager, a great stadium to play in. They have 20,000 fans every week. That's an intimidating atmosphere. And when things go right at Bolton, they really will go right.
Interesting. I totally agree with your theory in terms of the time. The only problem is that Everett is, like you say, waving this big flag, and it's whether someone comes in and turns his head whilst they're building, like you say, to maybe next season. And, he does seem very key.
Like Russell Martin.
Yeah, exactly like Russell. Yeah, good. Yeah, perfect analogy. Yeah. And although MK have ridden that out well, though, because they're a well-run club. But, yes, so we'll keep an eye on Charlton, who are just teetering there in 23rd spot. Right, we've got to ask you, I know they're not one of our dearly departed teams, but we've got to ask you about Fleetwood, because you've been at 2 rather spectacular away games here. A 2-2 draw down at Cambridge, 76th minute equaliser there. Your name was coming up lots in the Super Streams, Knappers, as the goals were flying in for and against Fleetwood. And this is a hell of a result, because MK are good, aren't they? And a Scott Twine hat-trick. You can tell me how good he was, because he wrapped one in at Portman Road for Swindon last year, which is the best goal we've seen at Ipswich for years. Actually, you can tell me who's got the better deal there, Ipswich and Scott Fraser, or MK and Scott Twine, the replacement there. But tell me about Fleetwood and all those, 10 goals and 800 miles.
Unbelievable. Like, I'll say to my dad and all my friends at the start of the year, I'm like, we're literally going to draw 0-0 or win 1-0 to set up this year to get to 50 points. And then first 3 games, like, we were unlucky, but we weren't creating much. Since then, it's just been a bit like, going forward, we look good, slip balls down the side, get crossed into the box. And then defensively, we're just so easy to open up. We play a back 3, which is so easy to play against. Our wing backs go forward. Our centre half split. Then there's loads of gap for agile, fast, quick strikers to get in. You like Alfie Mays, you like Scott Twine, you like your Ices, those types of players that can just get in. And it's just so easy to combat against. So I think Fleetwood need to go to a back 4. I've said that for a while now. But it's 2 good points really on the road. I would have taken that before. But MK Don's away. What a point that is, by the way. I know we're winning, drawing, losing, drawing. And to come back late on in both games is a good sign. I think that's 15 points in under 32 games under Grayson from losing positions. We only collected 17 over Joey, I think, 131 or 138 games. Something in that region. So, we've got the comeback. We do go a lot behind a lot more, so there's opportunities to pick up the points. But all our points this year have come back from losing positions. So it's a good mentality to have. We sit 20th, but it's not really sitting 20th, if I'm honest with you, because all the points have come in the last 6 games. We're improving, and it all depends on the next 5 games, really. I want to start winning. I take a 1-0 win on Saturday every day of the week. I love clean sheets. But Scott Twine, the hat-trick he scored, was the best hat-trick I've ever seen live. It was an unbelievable hat. First goal, gets it on to his strong foot, cuts inside, far corner. Second goal, hit from about 25 yards out, curl, swerve, keeper should probably save it. Third goal, free kick, hits the bar, hits the bar again, goes in. Unbelievable player, so agile, and I'd probably pick him over Fraser, but only just.
No, I think probably even a few Ipswich fans would as well. That was a good pickup for.
He wanted to go somewhere, and a good sign to be one of the best players in the league instead of going sitting on like a Championships bench and not do anything like the Mendes Gomez's have done. Gone to Luton instead of just stay into a League One club and go and be a hero for a football club.
And a club that plays on the front foot and creates a whole ton of chances as well. Yeah, when you put it like that, it is a good move. Right, I've got to ask you about Ipswich then, because maybe a slight turning of the corner, and it was all a bit blah after drawing at home to Sheffield Wednesday. But then, context is king, Knappers. Sheffield Wednesday go and win at Wigan, which all of a sudden, we know how this works, makes you draw against them look better, doesn't it? Because you're like, okay, well, they went to Wigan and won, and they couldn't win at Ipswich. And then a 6-0 win over Doncaster. Now, I know you're a bit bruising on Doncaster, but 6-0 is 6-0, isn't it? And it could be what Ipswich perhaps need just as a confidence boost, and a big win, and getting Sammy Morsey and Burton Selina finally into the team. What was your take on those two Ipswich results, and 7 points now in 3?
It's a very good. It was a swing of momentum. It's 7 points. You would have taken that. And you said last week, George Sheffield Wednesday beat Doncaster. Good week. You'll take that now.
Yes.
To draw against them, not so good. So it's. I said it's a huge game for you in your season. It could be an upward momentum thing where you're trending up and you start winning. To score that amount of goals, a lot of players getting on the score sheet, getting on the assist, which is great to see. Doncaster an embarrassment. I've criticised them a lot this week. I'm going to give them a break now, if I'm honest with you. But if it was a Doncaster fan, I'd hate Ipswich. I think you beat them 6-0 about 9 or 10 years ago as well, didn't you?
Connor Wickham, scored a hat-trick. Yeah,
at the keep now, yeah. But again, a great win, clean sheet. Burns getting a couple of assists, Selina getting an assist. Since he's come in, he's had 3 games. You've won 2, drawn 1, and you've only conceded 1. That's no coincidence. He's a little magician, little dancer, great player. Great to see him back at Portman Road. Macaulay bomb. What he did on Saturday for that Sheffield Wednesday goal. The intelligence and the confidence on him to have that, and the ability to spot out a pass. And then good finish by Chapman, 1-1. And then you're getting on the score sheet again the other day. So great couple of results. You go to Accrington, which has been a bit of a bogey ground team in the last few years. They beat you in the FA Cup, didn't you? Then they beat you in the first season. You win League One. So
and we had a really lucky win against Accrington. It was actually the first game Paul Cook was there, and Accrington got a really dodgy red card that got rescinded after, and we won 1-0. So you're totally right. Ipswich always struggle away at Accrington.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've just conceded 12 goals in 3 games to, Wigan, Accrington and Morecambe. So, if you can go there and get a win or even a point, even if a point wouldn't be a bad result, you go off the back of four games, quite tough games really against sides that are going to fight, and you go 4 unbeaten. And again, that upward momentum, as long as you win your next game, it's a great sign really.
Absolutely. We are going to have a look at the fixtures coming up this weekend. Get your questions in for Knappers, because we'll do a bit of Q&A if you've got any questions. But please indulge us first. Here is a quick ad for a little thing I'm working on, Championship 365. Get your questions in. We'll be back in about 25 seconds. If you're enjoying this show, then why not check out Championship 365?
The only area to find Benjamin Bloom, the Second Tier Podcast, and myself, Ben HD, all in the same place.
We'll debate the key topics and interact with you, our community of subscribers.
And we'll be releasing 2 exclusive weekly videos.
So visit www.network.planetsport.com.
Championship 365, 3 creators, 1 community.
There you go, Championship 365. You can go and check that one out. We'll plug all Knappers stuff at the end of the show, though. I assume you know where to find him. Now, please hit like wherever you're watching. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And please hit subscribe here. Bit of a slowdown, but 19,400. We are closing in on 20,000. And as ever, thank you, Knappers. As ever, you can support via Super Chat, Super Sticker. Just hit the dollar button where you leave your comments, and we'll split these in half and kind of acknowledge the great work that and the great contributions that Knappers brings to this show as well. Any questions, get them in now. We're just going to get Knappers' take on the weekend fixtures. Cheltenham versus Rotherham. Rotherham go away to Cheltenham. They'll probably be favourites, but my brain is telling me, and I could be wrong, that it's their home. Let me just bring up the away table. Knappers. Oh no, I'm totally wrong. They're decent away from home, and Cheltenham's home form, so. What do you think on this one, Knappers?
I think Rotherham is a big game for them. I think it's a big game for Rotherham, for Cheltenham as well. You know, it's a tough 3 games, but again, you know, you've got to play everyone at least, you know, home and away. And if you get anything, they're not expected to get anything, you know, they can afford to lose. If you get a point, I think it'd be a great result for Cheltenham. I think if Rotherham get a draw, would it be that bad? You know, 5 from 3, unbeaten in 5, it'd be okay. If you can win 1, draw 1 when you're only unbeaten runs. Fleetwood did it a few years ago, and we won 6, drew 6. You're still getting 24 points, 2 points a game. But I think Rotherham, if you can win, that's a huge shift in momentum. It would be 10 points from 12. You know, playing your Boltons, your Cheltenhams, your Wimbledons, and your Crews. You know, a good side and against 3 sides that are gonna want every point in this league. So I'm going to fancy Rotherham winning this one just though.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So tight there as well. Just the top of that table with Rotherham and then 3 teams all tied up on 19 points as well. Next one for us at the weekend. Perfect, because it's Fleetwood. Fleetwood versus Charlton. You can give us chapter on verse, and surely you got this one circled on your calendar, being so a bit of a no-win situation this for Fleetwood, isn't it? If they win, everyone will say, "Oh, Charlton are bad at the moment," and if they lose, everyone will say, "Oh well, Charlton, they're big side, lose anyway. You don't get any credit whichever way it goes, do you?"
No, exactly. But again, Fleetwood don't really care about that. We don't care. We don't want credit. We want points on the board. It's that. You know, that mentality that we've built up over the last few years. I think it's 7 unbeaten in all competitions, 6 in League One. So, you know, I think Fleetwood will get something. I don't think we'll win. I think we'll get a 4 straight draw. I think it's going to be a goalless draw at the weekend. I think Grayson will, tighten the ship up a bit. Maybe add an extra 3 or 4 defenders to maybe help us keep that clean sheet. And if we can see, maybe bring another one on as well.
It's going to be fun, though, because at least I know if Charlton score in 10 minutes, we're going to get another 2-2, 3-3, 3-2, or whatever you've had. Was it 3-2 in that home game as well for Fleetwood?
We've had last week we had a 3-3, 2-2. We had game before we had a 4-2 win. Then we had before that we had a 1-1 draw, and before that we had a 3-2 win. So.
You're talking to a man who watched Mick McCarthy's Ipswich not score or concede more than 1 goal.
I watched Fleetwood score 4 goals in 14 games last year.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what I was about to say then, don't you? Yeah, when times are tough. Gillingham versus Wigan. Wigan looking to bounce back after the defeat to at home to Sheffield Wednesday. Gillingham down there in 18th, but one defeat in 4 for the Gills. Only 1 home win so far this season, but they have only played 4 games at home. Do you see Wigan bouncing back?
Yeah, I do. I think Gills are in an awkward situation at the moment, like Fleetwood in an embargo. They're not as bad as people are making out. They have drawn 5 of the first 10, only lost 3. So it's not as bad as everyone's looking them out to make to be. They'll be fine this year, but I just fancy a Wigan win. I think they'll be just a little bit too strong, and I fancy a Wigan win and a Wigan maybe clean sheet as well.
A typically kind of big League One game here. We get lots of these, don't we? Sheffield Wednesday versus Oxford. That's 2 traditionally big sides, isn't it? Sheffield Wednesday, we think, moving back into form. Oxford up there in 8th, but only just got back to winning ways last time out. This one feels quite hard to call, Knappers.
Yeah, it does. Oxford have already got as many points as they did at 16 games last year. So
really,
this has been a disappointing start for Oxford. They're just outside the playoffs. Only 2 points outside. They've got one of the best home forms in the division. You got great win the other day. They've got 10 points when scoring first. So I think it'll be a tough game for Wednesday. But being at home, I do back Wednesday win. I don't think Oxford are quite the same when they are travelling on the road.
I've just flipped a button so we can do this, and you can see on the right there the top scorers charts. Look, Macaulay Bond 7, Ryan Hardy 7, Ross Stewart 7, Michael Smith 7. Way out in front, the main man. It's not Andy Cole, it's Cole Stockton. He's on fire, and we suspect will be looked at by lots of teams in January if there's any money floating around. Wycombe versus Morecambe, and can you talk about Cole Stockton, the informed striker in the league, Knappers?
Oh, absolutely. Got goal Stockton, as the Shrimps
yes.
calling him. Again, he's never really been prolific before joining Morecambe. He only got like 13 or 14 last year in League Two, but already, on course for beating that. He won't keep up this record for 46 games. If he does, he's an absolute monster, put it that way. And I bet you his goal tally was 10 goals or 12 goals this season. If I was Stephen Robinson, I'd be expecting him to get 40 goals this year. He's got the goal again. Why not? You know what I mean? But again, he's very influential to how the Shrimps play. Back to goal, very good. And him and Michael Smith are so similar. And you just kind of think they're worth more than what the clubs are going to get for him. So, he'll probably keep Morecambe in League One. He's that crucial. And he's probably worth about £3 million just for what we'll offer Morecambe this year.
Yeah, they're gonna struggle to get that out of a championship team. Yeah, you're bang on. 13 goals in 41 starts last season. But yeah, evidently one of these players who makes the step up and finds it easier. Do you see Cole Stockton helping Morecambe get anything in this game against Wycombe then?
I think they might get a draw. I think they could frustrate Wycombe. I think they're both two sides that have got enormous respect for what they've done and what they've done this season. And it's two good managers, two good squads. Wycombe better at home. I think a point in this one.
Sure, fantastic stuff. Any questions in for Knappers? Because all I can see is thoughts on the roundabouts in MK, the legendary MK roundabouts. Although you were coming in on the bus, weren't you? So I'm sure straight over to the stadium. If there's any other questions, do let us know in the chat. In the meantime, as we always say here, we only cover 5 teams on this particular show, but Knappers' fine channel, you can hear about all 24. Tell us about what you've been up to this week and what people can find on your channel, Knappers.
Yeah, I cover all 24 teams. I do, live shows like Ben does, live reviews, talk about the table, talk about the games, going into the next game, top 10s, match day vlogs against every League One club as well, so home and away. So if you could go and give me a subscription, it would be massively appreciated. And on the road to 7,100 subscribers, it's over on COD's Vlogs. And I also run a Twitter page as well, where I put a load of League One stats and a load of clips from like these shows and my review shows that you can watch in kind of short, nice little chunk videos.
Yeah, good, really good go-to guy for League One stuff. There we go, Knappers, and we're going into international break, aren't we? So we'll have to figure out what we're going to do next week. Maybe we can do a review of what's gone on so far, although will we get cancellations?
Yeah, there's been a couple so far. I know Sheffield Wednesday's off and I know Wimbledon's off. Yeah,
Jamie's just pointed that out, MK and Wimbledon. So we'll get our heads together, but you may, or it may be better for us to wait until next Thursday, but we will figure that one out. Any last words before we go from you, the legendary Knappers?
Oh, no, I just hope you've enjoyed the show, guys. And thank you for having me on again, Ben. I've really enjoyed it.
Legendary. So we'll be back. We'll get our heads together. We'll probably talk about this in about 5 seconds when we play the advert and figure out. But you will see us next, and we're we're getting nice and consistent with this League One content. So I hope you're enjoying it. Please go and sign up to Knappers' channel there, covering all 24 teams in League One. Thank you for sticking with us here, even though your team may have been relegated or may not be in the Championship anymore. We try and bring you some good coverage. And I'll say we'll see you when we see you. It may be next week or it may be the following week, depending on cancellations and things of that nature. Thank you all for watching, and it's a lovely big over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload, ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.